Thank you, Mr. Chairman. General, good to see you again. I wanted to talk more about municipal pensions. What are some of the things you've seen in your audits? How big of an issue is it? Is it, are we talking just third-class cities? Obviously, used to represent York City. Right. Their legacy funds are what's kind of driving their financial future. But is it just them? Obviously you represent North York Borough, which had Northern Regional Police Department. They just redid their municipal pension with new hirees to try to reduce their costs. What things have you saw in those audits?
It is, first of all, thank you, Representative, and I also appreciate your support for my audit suggestion in October, the Steelers' offensive line. You were the quickest retweet on that one.
Absolutely.
So I appreciate it.
I'm not sure it worked, but
no, I'm not sure
next
it did
season,
either.
Next season,
absolutely, absolutely. Maybe sometimes you got to look at it for the long haul. It is not just third-class cities, and it is not small. It is a major issue for the state. It is all over the state. It is in first-class townships, third-class cities, cities of the first class, city of the second class, which we know Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, Pittsburgh, respectively. The number one issue is municipalities struggling to make their mandatory municipal obligation payment, and then the second part of that is what their mandatory minimum is many times based on a rosy assumption of what they're going to get on a rate of return. And then lo and behold, you're putting in the minimum based on a rosy assumption, add that up over a couple years, and now you're in a pretty big hole. And if you're a local government that really relies on property taxes as your funding mechanism, there's almost no way to get caught up with that. In addition to that, I just believe, and I think many members of the General Assembly, and I think many members of the public agree with this, there's simply just way too many systems. We've got to find a way to, at a minimum, cut out administrative waste. Now, does that mean that municipalities that have been doing the right thing and fully funding their pensions should be bailing out the ones that haven't? Absolutely not. But we've got to find a way to get more administrative savings. That's money that's simply going out the window, and we're not getting anything in return for it.
Yeah, that's always a tough one with locals. Obviously, we're a local control state. There's always a hesitation in well-funded pension systems to say, why put us in the same boat as those who have underfunding?
And they make a fair point, but the ones that haven't been doing their job, I think, in a sense, they've lost the right to just start yelling local control. I mean, I get the ones that have been doing a good job, and that they certainly have a fair point, and at a minimum, they shouldn't be asked to bail out the ones that haven't been doing a good job. But for the ones that haven't been doing their job, I've lost my patience on them screaming local control.
Good. Other thing to hit on with school audits, when you go in there, are you able to look at their tax base and see how their tax base has approved, not approved on their financials? There's always, especially York County, we had 16 school districts. People scream, why do we have 16 school districts? Why do we have 16 superintendents? Have you looked at specifically some school districts have merged over the time to see how their finances have gone? I often think of Central York School District. If Harley left, what does their tax base look like versus for a York County, if Harley left, what would their tax base look like, and the effects of those kind of smaller tax bases with school districts?
We have much more flexibility on that in our school district audits than we do in our pension audits. So in our school district audits, we have pretty broad range to look at almost anything. And one of the things that we look at is the financial stability of the district. And there's a lot of factors that could play into that, management, tax base, et cetera. We don't go into that nearly as much on the pension side. We kind of just look at the books on that one. But none of these happen in the vacuum. I mean, we read the papers just like anybody else, and which districts have, or which municipalities are just in a better tax-based situation. But we don't take that into nearly the same account we do on the pension side as we do on the school district side. So, and that's just because we have more flexibility there.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Thank you, General.